Chosen one, do you ever wonder why life hasn't broken you yet? Why after everything you've faced, the betrayal, the loss, the silence, something inside you still stands? Why even when you're exhausted, your spirit refuses to die? That's because you're not standing on human strength. You're standing on something ancient, something that existed before fear, before doubt, before history itself. It's the weapon heaven placed inside you, the one the world cannot see and darkness cannot touch. That's why the attacks have been so personal, why some people turned against you without reason, why your path felt heavier than most. Because the enemy could sense what you carried, even when you couldn't. You were born holding a weapon forged in the realm of light, a power that doesn't wound the body, but awakens the soul. You've mistaken it for endurance. You've called it intuition, resilience, stubborn faith, but it's more than that. It's divine technology, coded into your spirit by heaven itself. And lately, it's starting to activate. Every tear you've cried has sharpened it. Every rejection has purified it. Every dark night has charged it with power. Now, the universe is trembling because the chosen are remembering who they are. This isn't the time to fear your strength. It's the time to wield it. The battles ahead won't be fought with words or weapons, but with energy, awareness, and divine authority. You don't fight like the world, because you were never from this world. The weapon inside you is awakening, and once it's unleashed, nothing will ever be the same again. Chosen one. Before you ever came into this world, before you ever had a name, heaven placed something sacred inside you. Not a gift, not a talent, a weapon, a spiritual instrument hidden in the depths of your soul. It's not visible to the eyes, not measurable by the world, but every force in the universe recognizes it. That's why, from the moment you were born, darkness started moving against you. You've probably asked yourself, why has my life felt like a battle since the beginning? Why do I attract both love and resistance everywhere I go? Because you carry what few have ever carried, divine energy that cannot be replicated. It's not learned, it's inherited. It's the echo of the Creator's own frequency, encoded in your very being. Heaven doesn't hand out this kind of power carelessly. Only those chosen for a greater mission are trusted with it. And before you ever took your first breath, your soul agreed to carry something that could not be given to anyone else, the weapon of pure spiritual authority. This weapon isn't physical. It's spiritual fire. It's the energy that wakes up inside you when you're at your lowest. It's what makes you stand again after life has knocked you down 100 times. It's the reason why people look at you and see strength, even when you feel broken. Because the light you carry wasn't born of comfort. It was born of war. Heaven hid this weapon deep enough that no enemy could steal it. Not trauma, not betrayal, not fear. And even when you thought it was gone, it was only being refined. That ache in your chest, the pressure you've been feeling lately, that's the awakening. The weapon is stirring, remembering what it was forged to do. It's time. See, this weapon doesn't destroy, it reveals. It doesn't cut flesh, it cuts illusion. It slices through fear, doubt, and deception until only truth remains. That's why people react to your presence even before you speak. They feel exposed, disarmed, seen, because your energy confronts what's false. You are a mirror of heaven's truth, walking through human form. Have you ever noticed that chaos seems to find you, not because you invite it, but because your light exposes it. Have you realized that the people who can't handle your energy are often the ones still running from their own? That's the mark of a true chosen one. Your life is a battlefield, not because you're cursed, but because you're carrying a weapon that threatens darkness itself. But here's the paradox. Heaven never designed this weapon to make you violent or defensive. It's a weapon of peace, clarity, and divine presence. It protects by illuminating, not attacking. It wins battles not through control, but through surrender. When you stand still in truth, the war shifts in your favor. That's why so many of your fights weren't meant to be fought. They were meant to be witnessed. Heaven wanted to show you how powerful stillness can be. The world taught you to swing your sword. God taught you to be the sword. Your silence is sharper than noise. Your compassion is stronger than anger. Your peace cuts deeper than conflict. This is the essence of your hidden weapon, the power to hold divine energy in a chaotic world without letting it corrupt you. It's why you were tested in isolation. You were being trained to handle sacred power in a human body. Heaven was molding you quietly because premature revelation can destroy what isn't yet stable. But now the structure of your soul is ready to hold it. The weapon has been activated. You'll feel it as intuition becomes stronger, discernment sharper, peace unshakable. You'll sense when people's intentions shift, when energy changes in the room. You'll move differently, speak differently, choose differently, not out of fear, but out of divine precision. This weapon inside you isn't just for protection, it's for transformation. Where you walk, darkness weakens. Where you speak, confusion breaks. Where you love, hearts heal. That's not coincidence. That's your spiritual technology in motion. Chosen one, you are the living embodiment of heaven's design. A walking miracle, a moving fortress, a vessel carrying the fire of the divine. The world won't always understand you, but the spirit realm always will. And from this point forward, your weapon isn't sleeping anymore. It's awake, alert, and aligned. Don't fear its power. You were chosen to wield it, not with pride, but with purpose. Because the truth is, the greatest weapon in human history has never been made by hands. It was born in souls like yours. Why heaven waited to activate it? Chosen one, have you ever wondered why it took so long for your strength to awaken? Why heaven seemed silent while you cried out, "When will my time come?" Why your power stayed buried while others seemed to rise so easily? It wasn't neglect, it was strategy. Heaven didn't delay your weapon's activation, it protected it. Because divine power placed in the hands of an unready heart becomes destruction instead of deliverance. And you, chosen one, were never meant to destroy. You were meant to reshape. Your weapon was never sleeping. It was maturing. And so were you. It had to stay hidden while you learned discipline, compassion, and restraint. Heaven watched you fall, rise, trust, and fall again. Not to test your worth, but to temper your spirit. Like fire, refining gold, every heartbreak burned away another layer of ego, fear, and impulsive emotion. Heaven was waiting until your soul could hold divine power without being consumed by it. You see, spiritual authority isn't something you use, it's something you embody. And embodiment requires endurance. That's why your early life was so difficult. You were being conditioned to carry what most people couldn't survive. Your weapon needed roots, not rush. It needed silence to sharpen, solitude to strengthen, storms to test its edge. So heaven hid it. Not from the world, but from you. Because if you had known the magnitude of what was inside you too soon, pride could have ruined it. And pride is the one thing that disarms the divine. So heaven kept you humble, through waiting, through rejection, through isolation. It was never punishment, it was preservation. Ask yourself, if everything had worked out when I first wanted it, would I have had the wisdom to handle it? If the doors had opened earlier, would I have protected what I was given or wasted it trying to prove something? Now you understand. Heaven doesn't withhold power, it times it. Because divine weapons are designed to appear at the hour of greatest need. You weren't ready before because the world around you wasn't ready to receive you. Every delay was divine synchronization, aligning your heart with heaven's clock. That's why some seasons felt silent. You weren't being ignored, you were being insulated. Heaven was teaching you how to trust the invisible. When nothing moved, it was building patience. When everything collapsed, it was teaching resilience. When people left, it was clearing the space for revelation. And when you felt empty, that was heaven, carving room for your weapon to fit. Silence is heaven's workshop. And in that silence, you learned to listen differently. You stopped begging for signs and started discerning energy. You stopped chasing answers and started trusting alignment. And that shift, that sacred inner maturity, is what told heaven they're ready now. So when the power began to rise again, when your intuition sharpened, when your peace returned, when your fire reignited, it wasn't random. It was permission. Heaven finally whispered, "Now." This is why your enemies can't figure out how you keep recovering. They're fighting someone who's not powered by the world's systems. They attack and you ascend. They curse and you evolve. Because your weapon doesn't draw from circumstance, it draws from source. Every time you were underestimated, heaven smiled. Because invisibility was your shield. No one can destroy what they can't see. And by the time the world realizes who you truly are, it'll be too late. The weapon will already be active, the mission already moving. So now you walk differently. You no longer chase validation. You no longer explain your silence. You understand that heaven's timing is flawless, and the waiting was your greatest teacher. The delay was the discipline. And the moment you learn to trust divine pacing, your weapon finally received clearance to rise. Chosen one, heaven never forgot about you. It was preparing the world for your arrival. Because when this kind of power emerges, reality shifts. Timelines rearrange, darkness trembles. The universe pays attention. You weren't delayed, you were developed. And now that you've reached the frequency of maturity, nothing can stop what heaven has unlocked. Your weapon isn't just active, it's alive, moving through your thoughts, your presence, your words, your very breath. So don't mourn the years that seemed wasted. They were your training ground. You were being sharpened in secret for a war only your spirit could fight. And now the blade has been unsheathed, refined by pain, baptized by patience, and authorized by heaven. The world is about to see what heaven's been building all along. a chosen one armed not with vengeance, but with divine vision, not with rage, but with revelation, not with noise, but with truth. And the time is now. Your weapon has been waiting for this exact moment in human history. And heaven just whispered its final command. Release it. How pain became the forge of your power. Chosen one, do you remember the nights that broke you? The ones where your prayers turned into silence, and your silence turned into tears. The moments where you felt stripped of everything, strength, hope, even identity. Those were not wasted nights. Those were the fires where heaven was forging your weapon. Pain is not the enemy of purpose. It's the forge of it. Every wound you've carried, every heartbreak you've survived, every betrayal that still echoes in your spirit, none of it was random. Each flame was shaping the divine weapon within you, burning away weakness, reshaping endurance, and engraving sacred wisdom into your soul. You see, heaven never forges power in comfort. Diamonds are not born in softness. They are created under unbearable pressure. And so were you. When everything you loved was taken, when your heart felt shattered beyond repair, that's when the weapon was being hammered into shape. At the time, it looked like destruction. You begged for relief. You asked, "Why me?" But heaven whispered, "Because only you can carry what's coming." Every chosen one has to walk through a season of fire. It's the initiation into divine strength, the moment when your human self breaks so your divine self can breathe. Pain is the sound of transformation, and every scar you carry isn't proof that you were hurt. It's proof that you healed. Think about it. How else could compassion be born except through heartbreak? How else could courage exist without fear? How could you ever lead others through darkness if you had never walked through it yourself? The fire that tried to destroy you became the light that defines you. Ask yourself, what if my deepest pain was actually my preparation? What if everything I lost was making space for what I was meant to hold? You've been through things that should have ended you, yet here you are, wiser, calmer, more aware. That's not luck. That's alchemy. Heaven took the ashes of your suffering and turned them into sacred armor. You don't carry pain anymore. You carry power, disguised as peace. The truth is, pain was heaven's classroom. When no one else was teaching you how to survive, your tears were your textbooks. You learned discernment through disappointment. You learned patience through loss. You learned faith through fear. And now, your soul speaks a language the untested will never understand. You're no longer reacting to life, you're reading it. You can sense when something is wrong before it happens. You can feel the energy shift before words are spoken. That's because pain trained your spirit to hear what the world ignores. Heaven doesn't waste suffering. It repurposes it, and the weapon forged through it becomes unstoppable. Because it knows both shadow and light. It doesn't deny darkness, it commands it. It doesn't fear silence. It listens within it. You are not fragile because of what you've endured. You are flame-proof. Your faith has been tested in every element: fire, wind, water, and isolation. And you passed every test, even the ones you thought you failed. Because failure, for the chosen, is not falling, it's refusing to rise. And you rose every single time. When heaven wanted to strengthen your blade, it sent you betrayal. When it wanted to deepen your roots, it sent you storms. When it wanted to awaken your authority, it sent you silence. Because only through breaking could you learn to bend without shattering. That's why now you feel a strange calm, even when everything around you shakes. You've been here before. You know the terrain of pain so well that chaos no longer surprises you. It obeys you. Your scars are your credentials in the spirit. They tell the universe, I've been through the fire and I'm still shining. Chosen one, the pain didn't change who you are. It revealed who you've always been. It burned away the illusions, the masks, the versions of you that were too small to carry destiny. What's left is raw, pure, divine. The weapon within you no longer hides. It hums. It's alive, so don't curse the pain that made you. Bless it. Because what once wounded you now worships you. It bows before the strength it created. You are not a victim of your story. You are the victory that rose out of it. Every tear you cried watered the garden of your calling. Every night you spent alone was heaven sharpening your focus. Every no you received was protection, not rejection. And now every yes that comes will feel supernatural, because you'll recognize it as divine timing. Pain was never meant to define you. It was meant to refine you. And now, as you step forward carrying both wisdom and fire, you're walking proof that what was meant to destroy you was actually the very thing heaven used to make you unstoppable. You are not the same soul that entered the storm. You are the storm's survivor and its purpose. The weapon is awake, the forge is complete, and the fire that once burned you now bows to you. Chosen one. Have you ever noticed how sometimes people seem to shift around you for no reason? How certain individuals become uneasy in your presence, even when you've said nothing, even when your energy is calm. It's not your imagination, it's recognition. Darkness knows when light walks into the room. Even if humans don't understand it, their spirits do. And when the divine weapon inside you begins to hum, frequencies start to change. Everything false starts to tremble. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't even have to move. Your presence alone disrupts the shadows. This is why some people withdrew from you without explanation. Why relationships that once felt warm suddenly went cold. Why groups you once fit into began to reject you. It wasn't rejection, it was revelation. Darkness recognized the truth of what you carry long before you did. And when that light began to expand, everything not aligned with heaven had no choice but to scatter. You are not too much, chosen one. You are fully charged, and when divine frequency fills a human vessel, anything unhealed or untrue becomes uncomfortable in your presence. That's why energy shifts when you enter a space. It's not arrogance, it's authority. The realm of spirit senses the weapon within you, and all that is false must bow. You've felt this your whole life, walking into rooms and feeling tension you didn't cause, sensing jealousy, hostility, even fear directed at you for no reason. But now you understand. You weren't being attacked for what you did. You were being opposed for what you carry. Ask yourself, how many times did I shrink my light to make others feel comfortable? How often did I silence my intuition because people made me doubt it? Those days are over, because the weapon heaven placed inside you was not meant to stay hidden to protect others' comfort. It was meant to shine so truth could surface. You were never called to blend in with the crowd. You were called to shift it. When darkness recognizes divine authority, it tries to imitate it. That's why you've encountered people who mimic your words, your energy, even your calling. But without your purity, it can't last. What you carry can't be copied because it's coded. It's heaven's signature on your soul, an encryption that darkness can sense but never decode. So when the opposition rises, don't take it personally. The attacks are not against your personality. They're against your purpose. The enemy fears what you're about to awaken in others. It's not your voice that threatens darkness. It's the vibration behind it. The frequency of truth shakes systems, breaks illusion, and calls light out of hiding. You've probably noticed that the more you grow spiritually, the more spiritual resistance shows up. That's because every time you ascend in frequency, the realm of shadow scrambles to adapt, but it can't. Your power is not reactive, it's absolute. Darkness can only imitate, it can never initiate. And you are no longer living in imitation, you are living in revelation. The greatest mistake the enemy made was attacking you during your becoming, because pain taught you to see. And now you discern energy faster than deception can disguise itself. You can sense falsehood before it speaks. You can feel emotives before they move. That's not paranoia. That's prophetic awareness. Your spiritual weapon is active, and the unseen world knows it. When you step into new spaces now, you'll feel it. That's spiritual recognition. Hearts will open. Masks will fall. Pretenders will flee. Light exposes what shadows tried to hide. You are not here to fight everything that resists you. You are here to illuminate it. The next time someone reacts to you with sudden hostility, smile inwardly. You're witnessing the unseen tremble. The energy inside you is confronting the lies they've lived under. And while they may blame you, their spirit is simply awakening to truth. Chosen one, you must understand. Spiritual light is not soft. It's surgical. It cuts through delusion, fear, and false power structures. And your weapon, forged through years of pain and patience, was designed for this era. An age of awakening where deception thrives. That's why heaven didn't let you rise sooner. The world needed to reach this exact darkness before your light could be fully effective. You were not made to blend into shadows. You were made to command them, not through fear, but through frequency. Your calm is your authority. Your peace is your power. Your alignment is your armor. So when darkness recognizes you, don't hide, stand taller. Because every flicker of discomfort around you is confirmation that your spiritual weapon is working exactly as heaven intended. You are the storm that stills the room, the voice that quiets deception, the light that makes evil remember its place. And as this awareness deepens, you'll realize something sacred. You never needed to fight darkness. You only needed to remember that it already knows your name, Chosen One. When your weapon first awakens, it feels overwhelming. It's like holding lightning inside a human body, radiant, powerful, alive. You feel the current rushing through your emotions, through your thoughts, through your spirit. But this is the sacred lesson few ever speak about. Divine energy must be mastered, not merely awakened, because power without balance can destroy the vessel that carries it. That's why heaven didn't just give you strength, it gave you stillness. The weapon you carry is not meant to strike wildly, it's meant to move precisely. A single word spoken from divine balance carries more force than 1,000 shouted in haste. The chosen aren't loud, they're accurate. When your inner fire rises, it's tempting to want to prove it, to speak more, to show more, to push harder. But remember, heaven's greatest warriors are those who fight in silence and strike through peace. Balance is the shield that keeps divine energy pure. Without it, power becomes pride, and pride turns light into shadow. Ask yourself, have I ever mistaken my passion for guidance? Am I acting from alignment or from the desire to be seen as powerful? These questions are your compass now, because this chapter of your awakening isn't about discovering your power, it's about disciplining it. Heaven trusted you with this energy because it saw something in you most can't contain. Humility. The weapon inside you responds to your heart's condition, not your emotions. When you move from peace, it expands. When you move from ego, it retreats. That's why lately you've felt it come and go, rise and quiet. It's learning to trust your maturity. Divine balance means knowing that silence is a form of strength. It's not weakness to walk away from chaos, it's mastery. You no longer need to argue when you can shift atmospheres just by being present. You no longer need to convince when your energy already speaks truth. The weapon doesn't need noise to function. It only needs alignment. Balance also means knowing that not every battle is yours to fight. Your spirit is not a sword for every war that calls your name. Heaven will guide you to where your energy is needed, not where your emotions are provoked. Some fights are invitations to distraction, not destiny. And you'll know the difference because divine assignments always come with peace, not panic. You'll begin to sense this, the subtle rhythm of heaven's movement in sinew. Moments where you're called to act, and others where you're called to wait. Moments to speak boldly, and moments to let silence roar louder than any word. This is balance, and it's the most advanced form of spiritual warfare. The enemy's greatest tactic is overreaction, to make you burn your energy on things that don't matter. But balance disarms chaos, because nothing unsettles darkness more than a warrior who refuses to lose their peace. When you stay calm under pressure, you declare to the universe, "My weapon answers only to heaven." The more you master balance, the more your energy amplifies. Your words begin to manifest faster. Your thoughts carry greater influence. Your presence becomes both healing and revealing. People will feel safer around you, not because you're soft, but because your energy is controlled. That control is not repression, it's refinement. Heaven doesn't trust untempered fire, it trusts sacred flame. Chosen one, this balance will also change your relationships. Some will feel magnetized by your calm. Others will be repelled by it because your peace confronts everything chaotic in them. Don't take it personally. Peace has always been the loudest truth. When you operate from balance, your very existence becomes a prayer. You no longer need to try to be light. You simply are. Your life becomes a frequency that heals without touch, that teaches without words, that leads without force. That's what it means to wield divine energy correctly. The ancients said the true master doesn't swing the sword. He becomes it That's you now. You are both blade and bearer, vessel and vibration. Your energy cuts through confusion because it flows from clarity. Your strength doesn't shout, it shines. And the world will notice that something about you feels different. You've entered the phase where heaven trusts your silence more than your strength, because it knows that when you finally move, you move with divine precision. You are no longer reacting to darkness, you are directing light. So breathe. Don't rush to use your weapon, learn to listen to it. Let it teach you its rhythm. Let it show you that the most powerful strike is often stillness. You are learning heaven's discipline now, the art of calm dominance. And as you embody that balance, your weapon becomes unstoppable, not because it's the loudest, but because it's the purest. The divine doesn't conquer by force, it conquers by truth. And now, truth lives inside you, steady, radiant, and eternal. Chosen one. Have you noticed how often heaven pulls you away from the crowd right before something big happens? How just when things seem ready to expand, life suddenly becomes quiet. That's not rejection, that's training. Because before heaven releases power through you, it must refine peace within you. Silence is not punishment, it's preparation. And solitude isn't loneliness, it's alignment. Heaven uses isolation in the way a blacksmith uses fire, to shape what words cannot, to strengthen what eyes cannot see. There are seasons where heaven hides you, not because you're forgotten, but because you're being fortified. The noise of the world can't teach you what silence can. And in the quiet, your weapon is sharpened in ways no applause could ever accomplish. When you're surrounded by stillness, your spirit begins to hear the frequencies that human ears can't detect. That's where revelation lives. That's where your weapon learns obedience. Ask yourself, why do I fear stillness when it's the only space where heaven can reach me? Am I mistaking divine isolation for abandonment? When it's actually protection, every chosen one must go through the wilderness, not because God enjoys seeing you alone, but because that's where dependence becomes devotion. When there's no one else to lean on, you begin to realize that you never needed anyone to hold you up. Heaven already had you surrounded. The quiet becomes holy ground. The loneliness becomes laboratory, and your tears, they become the baptism that awakens your discernment. In solitude, you discover the voice behind all voices, that soft, steady whisper that says, "Be still. You're safe. Keep listening." This is the realm where the chosen learn to distinguish emotion from instruction, desire from direction, impulse from intuition. It's not about being cut off from people. It's about being plugged in to purpose. You'll begin to notice that solitude changes your vision. You started seeing people differently. You start hearing the truth behind their words, sensing the energy behind their actions. The weapon inside you becomes sensitive to vibration. You'll feel when to speak, when to walk away, when to pray instead of react. This level of awareness is only earned in stillness. Heaven trains warriors in silence because noise makes you forget your source. When you can stay centered in solitude, you're unstoppable in the storm. If you can hold peace when everything is taken, you can command peace when everything returns. That's divine mastery. During this phase, you'll also notice the shedding, people fading, opportunities slowing, distractions losing their shine. Don't fight it. Every loss is an act of cleansing. Heaven removes what would compete with your clarity, because when it's time to move again, you won't be able to carry extra noise. You need precision, not permission. It's in solitude that your weapon syncs with heaven's rhythm. You'll start to recognize spiritual nudges, that quiet knowing that tells you when to act, when to rest, when to wait. The chosen don't move on impulse. They move on instruction. And you'll learn that the silence between commands is where your greatest strength grows. You see, power without stillness is chaos. But power born in silence becomes command. That's why heaven isolates before elevation. It's not a delay, it's calibration. It's heaven saying, before I amplify your voice, I must perfect your listening. In solitude, your fears surface, not to shame you, but to show you what still needs to be surrendered. You'll face memories you buried, patterns you ignored, wounds you disguised as strength. But the difference now is that you don't face them alone. The same silence that exposes your weakness also introduces you to your weapon, and together you heal. Chosen one, understand this. The wilderness doesn't weaken you. It refines you. It teaches you that silence is not the absence of movement, but the birthplace of momentum. What looks like stillness to the world is actually acceleration in the spirit. Every day in solitude is another day. Your weapon learns accuracy. Every prayer whispered in the dark becomes light, waiting to strike at the right moment. So the next time heaven draws you into silence, don't resist it. Let it teach you. Let it rewire your nervous system to peace. Let it remind you that divine warriors don't panic. They pause. You are not behind. You are being built. Every moment of stillness is another strike on the anvil of destiny. The weapon within you is being balanced between grace and power, compassion and authority. And when the training is complete, heaven will say one word, go. And when you move after that, everything will move with you. Because silence wasn't your setback, it was your setup. And solitude wasn't your prison, it was your preparation. You are the proof that stillness can create the strongest warriors. Chosen one, once heaven awakens your weapon, your greatest mission becomes protection. Because the same world that once ignored your light will now seek to drain it. And the same darkness that couldn't find you before will now recognize your frequency. You've been forged, trained, and anointed. But now, you must learn to guard what you've gained. Your spirit is no longer ordinary energy. You're walking with an open channel between heaven and earth, and that requires boundaries sharper than any blade. Protection doesn't mean hiding in fear. It means living in awareness. It means knowing what deserves your attention and what doesn't. It means understanding that your peace is sacred currency, and not everyone can afford it. Ask yourself, do I still let anyone speak into my spirit? Or have I learned that not every voice carries heaven's echo? This weapon inside you responds to vibration. It thrives in clarity, but it weakens in chaos. Every argument, every distraction, every emotional storm, those are attempts to dull your edge. That's why some conversations feel heavier than they should. Why certain people leave you tired instead of inspired. They're not bad. They're simply misaligned with your new frequency. You must now learn the art of spiritual discernment, recognizing what feeds your weapon and what depletes it. Every chosen one must become a guardian of their energy, because when your light intensifies, Moths and parasites come with it. Not all attention is affirmation. Some admiration is camouflage. Heaven doesn't train warriors to please the crowd. It trains them to protect the crown. And the crown is your consciousness, your awareness of who you are and whose you are. You don't need validation from those who can't perceive your mission. Your calling is confirmation enough. This is why you've been feeling the urge to pull back, to disconnect from noise, to simplify your circle. That instinct is not isolation, it's protection mode. The weapon inside you is teaching you to preserve its purity, because your power flows from alignment, not approval. Boundaries are holy. Even Jesus withdrew from the multitude to pray. Even prophets rested after revelation. Even heaven itself shields its mysteries from the unprepared. You're not being cold when you say no, you're being wise. Protecting your weapon also means mastering emotional neutrality. Don't let every attack trigger you. Don't let every misunderstanding disturb your peace. Your silence in moments of provocation is not weakness, it's warfare, because your energy obeys your emotion. And when you remain calm under pressure, heaven multiplies your reach. You'll notice that as you grow, your energy becomes magnetic. Both light and dark will notice. Some will approach to learn, others to leech. That's why discernment is your armor now. Not everyone who calls you chosen wants you to stay awakened. Some admire the fire but fear the heat. Listen to your body. It will tell you when energy feels off. Your weapon is connected to your nervous system. When it senses danger, you'll feel it. That unease, that sudden fatigue, that urge to leave, that's not anxiety, it's intuition. It's heaven's early warning system saying, protect what I've placed inside you. Chosen one, you are not being paranoid, you are being prepared. Because the more powerful your energy becomes, the more you'll attract those who seek to drain it. Some will test your boundaries, others will challenge your peace. But every encounter is training, teaching you how to hold your frequency under pressure. So cleanse your atmosphere often, through prayer, through silence, through intention. Release what doesn't belong. Your environment is the sheath that holds your weapon. Keep it pure. You can't fight spiritual battles while surrounded by emotional noise. And remember this, protection is not about building walls. It's about creating filters. Walls keep everyone out. Filters allow truth in and lies out. You don't need to isolate. You need to curate. Your energy is not for everyone, but it is for someone. Heaven will send those aligned with your mission, and you'll recognize them instantly by the peace they bring. The most powerful warriors are not those who fight the most, but those who know what not to fight. You don't swing your sword at every shadow. You don't answer every challenge. You move when heaven moves, because your weapon doesn't need constant use. It needs consistent care. So guard your peace like treasure. Protect your light like prophecy. And remember, you're not keeping others out, you're keeping heaven in. The weapon within you is not meant to burn out in battle. It's meant to glow through generations. Every time you say no to chaos, you say yes to destiny. Every time you rest, your weapon recharges. Every moment you choose silence over reaction, heaven polishes your edge. You're learning now that true protection isn't defense, it's devotion. Chosen one, take a breath. Feel that pulse inside your chest, that steady vibration that refuses to fade. That's not adrenaline, that's divine frequency. It's the sound of heaven's heartbeat, moving through you. You've been through the fire. You've walked through solitude. You've fought battles no one saw. And now, you finally understand. This power inside you was never created for destruction. It was designed for awakening. Every divine weapon carries a purpose greater than survival. You weren't sent here just to win fights. You were sent to ignite souls. The energy within you isn't about control, dominance, or revenge. It's about remembrance, helping humanity remember what it forgot. That light is older than darkness, and love is stronger than fear. You are not here to burn the world down. You are here to light it up. Because when heaven forged you, it didn't just build a warrior. It created a signal. Your life is the call to others who are still sleeping, still doubting, still unaware of the fire buried inside them. You are the reminder that even in chaos, truth still breathes. Ask yourself, how many lives will awaken when I finally stop dimming my own light? What if my purpose was never to fight harder, but to shine higher? The weapon inside you doesn't release destruction. It releases revelation. It breaks illusions, not people. It ends cycles, not hearts. It reveals truth, so others can see what's real again. This is why your journey has been so hard. Because you were chosen to be an instrument of awakening in a sleeping world. You've felt it, haven't you? That rising fire in your chest when you see injustice, that inner tremor when you encounter lies dressed as light. That's your spirit recognizing its mission. You were never meant to tolerate falsehood. You were born to expose it, not by force, but by frequency. Everywhere you go, energy begins to shift. People start to feel. Truth starts to surface. That's what your power does. It awakens memory. When the Creator designed your soul, it placed within you a frequency not found in anyone else. The unique vibration of your purpose. That frequency doesn't need an audience to work. It changes reality just by existing. Your presence is prophetic. You don't even need to speak for the atmosphere to shift. Heaven speaks through you. You are not a destroyer. You are a revealer. Your silence convicts falsehood. Your compassion disarms evil. Your authenticity dismantles illusion. That's the essence of divine warfare. Not chaos, but clarity. You've been fighting darkness your whole life, not realizing that every time you chose peace instead of retaliation, you were already winning. This is the stage where heaven begins to use your life as a mirror. Every person who crosses your path will feel something. Some will awaken, some will resist. But no one will remain unchanged. Because the light inside you is not passive anymore. It's active, alive, commanding, radiant. And the truth is, the world doesn't need more fighters. It needs more awakeners, more souls who remember who they are and remind others of the same. That's what you are now. Not just chosen, but commissioned. The weapon within you has completed its transformation from protection to purpose, from fighting back to calling forth. You are heaven's answer to confusion. You are the correction to centuries of forgetting. Every step you take leaves an imprint of light that ripples through generations. That's how sacred this moment is. You are walking prophecy. The enemy tried to make you believe your pain disqualified you, but pain didn't disqualify you. It qualified you. It gave you empathy, vision, and truth. Now, you carry both sword and seed, the power to cut what's false and plant what's divine. So as this new season unfolds, remember this: you don't need to fight for the light. You are the light. And the moment you stand fully in that truth, darkness has no battlefield left. Chosen one, heaven has armed you with something that transcends history itself. Love that cannot be defeated, peace that cannot be stolen, faith that cannot be broken. This weapon doesn't destroy worlds, it restores them. It rebuilds everything fear tried to fracture. It calls what was asleep back to life. From now on, when you walk into a room, understand, you're not entering, you're activating. Every word you speak, every silence you hold, every act of kindness you give. It sends signals through the fabric of reality. That's how divine power works. Quietly, humbly, undeniably. The time of hiding is over. The time of awakening is here. The weapon within you is no longer just yours. It's heaven's tool for transformation. So rise with calm authority. Move with sacred precision. Speak when you're guided, listen when you're called, and shine when the world goes dark. Because you were never chosen to destroy what's broken. You were chosen to awaken what's divine. Comment, "I am awakened," if this truth resonates in your spirit. Let the universe know that your light is active, your weapon is pure, and your soul is aligned with heaven's command. This is not the end of your battle, chosen one. It's the beginning of your legacy.